What's happening? It's Zay from Zay Did It here again today, and we're gonna be tackling the underrated and very misunderstood process called game staging. It might be one of the simplest, yet one of the most important things you ever gonna learn in the studio. It's the difference between your song sounding like garbage and sounding like a polished record. I'm not gonna be a diva here. I don't care about the production quality. I'm here to bring y'all good, accurate information. So what exactly is game staging? Let's keep it simple. It's the process of controlling your volume throughout the entire recording and mixing process, and it is very important. Why, you may ask if it's important? It's the foundation for everything good when it comes to your song. If you record your vocals or any instruments, any source that you are recording, if you record it too low, you're gonna lose a lot of that detail that you could have possibly kept just by bringing the fader up a little bit before you record it, or the trim knob, whichever one you want to call it. Also, when you record real low, when you're forced to bring up the levels, you also gonna raise the noise flow. All that unnecessary stuff going on in the background that you don't want to hear. It wouldn't have been as noticeable had you recorded at a good volume. On the other end of the spectrum, if you record way too hot, then you run the chance of clipping. What is clipping? It's the distortion that comes in when something is recorded at maximum volume or past maximum volume, and it starts distorting and sounding just unpleasant to your ears. Once that's there, that's done. You cannot remove that. You could have ruined a perfectly good recording just by having the volume too high. But if you game stage properly, your recording source, whether that be vocals or instruments, everything is gonna come through clean, it's gonna be crispy, and it's gonna sound better straight out of the box than it would have otherwise. That makes stuff better for you when you started mixing. So instead of having to do that extra EQ to try to capture a little bit more of that clarity, maybe you don't have to. Instead of trying to do so many cuts and remove some of that unwanted sound and resonance that came when you were forced to bring the volume up after recording, it probably won't be there. It's a good foundation, meaning your compressors and your EQs, they like sweet spots too. Everything has an optimal volume in which it likes to work. And if you make your gear or your plugins not have to work as hard, you're gonna get more out of it. So just remember this phrase right here. You can't polish a turd. A good mix starts with a good recording. A good recording starts with proper game staging. It's something that you can't get around. So let me see, can I tell you about how to game stage properly? The one thing you want to do is get your levels right. That means using that gain knob or that trim knob on that microphone preamp or that audio interface and set it to a level that leaves room for everything to breathe. That way you're not clipping, but you still get enough audio coming through that you can capture that clarity that you need. Around -12 to -8 dB is a good rule of thumb. Another thing you can do is use your eyes. Every recording program has a meter of some kind. Usually it starts a dark green, then it goes to light green, then it goes to yellow, then you hit red. Well, think of it like this. Green and yellow is cool. Red, you pushing it. When you real low on that green meter, when you forced to bring up stuff, it can get kind of noisy. So try to stay greenish yellow range. That's what I would say personally. I'm not no know-all. I'm just somebody trying to provide you with some information that could possibly help you out. Everything is set up different, but it's the same rule of thumb. You want a good audio level, but you don't want it cranked to the max where you distort it coming out the box, unless that's what you're going for. But the way to do this is start low. Set your input levels low and then raise them up slowly, and raise the gain of the faders and plugins only if needed. This avoids unwanted amplification and it keeps things from getting out of hand. Keep an eye on your meters. Every piece of gear just about has a meter, so just make sure it ain't approaching the red zone, and just adjust up and down when you need to. Think about it like a speedometer on the car. You know what the speed limit is, so if you're gonna go close to that speed limit, you gotta watch it, because if you go over it, you know what the consequences are. And don't be afraid to use reference track. We aiming for the best possible sound, so never be afraid to check a reference and go back and listen to another track, and try to, I'm not saying volume match, but make sure you in the right ballpark, because that's where you gotta know what you're aiming for. Everything has an end goal, and if you're not sure where you are volume wise, it never hurts to check a song that's already there. And don't think this is gonna make you a pro overnight. What it is gonna do is give you a solid foundation to build upon, so you can continue to grow in your mixing journey or whatever you choose to be doing. So Don't be frustrated if you don't get it right the first time, because it takes a while to get comfortable, but it's a valuable skill to have in your arsenal, and one that is gonna benefit you until you go deaf. If I missed something or it's just something you want to correct me on, let me know in the comments. And if you got anything out of this video, I would appreciate you liking it. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you can stay engaged with whatever we got going on in this community. Until next time, I'm out. Zay did it.